Hello ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. My name's Nate Barnes. Today what I have here is the dog behaviour assessment from the RSPCA New South Wales. I'll just show you who I am and then I'll show you the documents. I'm releasing that information today as a result of the high euthanasia rate within the RSPCA. I'm going to also be releasing the information of another document called the support persons document. What this behavioural assessment is that the RSPCA so bewilderingly won't release to the general public is the reason, as I mentioned, for them for what lives or dies. Now, I assisted them in 2003 to develop another behavioural assessment, hopefully this works, in which this one was used for rehabilitation of the animals. Once you find out their behaviour, they then started a behavioural program. There's no fail on this. It's recommendations. If it's extreme aggression, then they'd go and get the behavioural trainer, and then the behavioural trainer would work with that animal to reduce the animal's stress for the time it was within the facility. So basically, we had areas for them to comment their opinion, good, bad, otherwise, doing this multiple times a day. This is the tests that we used, and all of these words down here I explained to them through body language seminars and training what they mean. Lip licking, calming, appeasement, compliance. A high tail, meaning alert. Then you've got the daily record of the staff when they'd see it happening. So this was the behavioural assessment in 2003 from the RSPCA, and I'm aware it is illegal to release RSPCA documents. There's, however, a greater need to do what's right for the animals in some cases, and when a dog can fail, there's about 520 points for the potential for animals to be able to make on this that they can have to accumulate. So if they get 100 out of 520, they fail or they die, or if they do one of these actions. So you approach the cage, the dog sits back and bares its teeth, it fails. Now if that dog's just been brought into that cage by rangers, inspectors, someone found it on the street, a house breaking up, having to move, high stress situation, and that dog's used to being in a family where it interacts and hangs out with people all the time. Now it's an environment with 160 plus dogs barking continuously. It's been dragged, pulled in a random car. It might not have ever been in a car. In a random, I'll move that, sorry. That's interaction with small pets, pocket pets. So if you get a dog, that's a cattle dog, by the way, just looking at this one particular wind blowing, sorry. Good with animals, not with politics or internet and filming. So this one case here, you've got a pocket pet, so they've got bunnies or guinea pigs or whatever else on site. The dog approaches or lunge or snarls, or standing still, growls, snares, chase, nips at, gets 20, so it's 1/5 of the way of dying, or it just dies. Then if it goes from that area into the cat section, so it's already hyped up and whatever else, then it barks with hackles, lunges, stares or chases the cat, it fails. This is ridiculous. These animals are in a high stress situation where they've been used to living with a family. So for them to be outside of that, 1 to 3 days, as it's well known, there's hormone basically spikes in animals, just like people when we get adrenaline come through our body. Cortisol, for the first 3 days of a dog being within a facility, they're not their normal self. And then, as I mentioned, if you've got a dog that's used to being in a family situation where it's never left on its own, it's going to cry, it's going to be freaking out. So what I'd like everyone to do is just push pause on some of these, give your own dogs a quick test. If you've got a cattle dog and it snarls or goes towards a bunny and then it goes towards a cat, instead of killing it, wouldn't you just say no bunnies or cats? So if you put pause on these, hopefully we can do it. I'm going to release this via the internet through one of the amazing information awareness sites and things like this. Remember people, these dogs only need to get to 100, so that's crazy. So if the first time a dog's ever been given a toy and you start to play with it, and it's in a kennel where there's 20-30 other dogs running around, basically it's going to be resource protective, it's going to guard. If that dog's just been living in a backyard for the time that it's there, hopefully you can see that, if not you can get the attachment, and it's not used to having toys. It's not being a bad dog, but that one resource guarding action was a reason to kill it. There's no rehabilitation, there's no what to do after this behavioural thing fails. And when you've got a continuing situation at which dogs are coming into the shelter and being euthanized at a 40-50% rate for 20-30 years, whatever it may be, there needs to be something done. The RSPCA are autonomous. They have no governing body or anyone to question them. The times, if you have a look at some of those great awareness sites like SOCARES, SOCARES, you've got Death Row Pets, you've got Companion Animals Saving Pets, NARGA, N-A-R-G-A, Oscar's Law. A lot of us, we don't hate all of the RSPCA, we don't have an issue with anything apart from the policies and the reasons for not addressing issues, and when we take complaints they've all got to be redirected back to the RSPCA. So if you do a test with your dogs, put this on pause and see if yours or anyone's out there would actually pass this test. Most of mine wouldn't, that live with me. If you just did that test in the middle of a kennel or a pound where they're barking and jumping around, it's just, you can't blame a little terrier dog for being a bit reactive when it's next to 2 German Shepherds, a Great Dane, a Lab over the front and a Kelpie and a Staffy bouncing off the walls. Of course that dog's going to be reactive and be a bit more cautious. So we can have a look in discussions through the media. If you have a look at the SBS Insight program, The Tail End, if you have a look at multiple Newcastle Herald newspaper reports in relation to negative situations with the RSPCA, this is an example of their tactics. So this is a support person's code. I'm releasing this as a result of them failing to provide a legal document that allows proper representation and support for people during the grievance policies, procedures, whatever else it may be, by them not being able to have a support person who can actually say anything in the meeting, give them any representation. The head of the Liquor Licensing and Miscellaneous Union has been involved and escorted off the grounds for trying to participate in the discussion. So, yeah, this is the RSPCA Animal Behaviour Report. Here's some of my very brief suggestions. Try to get this done. Problem with their assessment on the front, where you see all of these things, what they don't have in there how long the dog's been in the shelter, the duration of the assessment, the day that it's being done. If the dog comes in, as I mentioned, with those hormone levels in day 1, 2, and they stay in there up to 9. But if then they don't get assessed for 2.5 to 3 months, it's basically also going to have a negative. They don't mention the experience levels of the team who's assessing them, how long they've been doing it. They've got, euthanasia, breed rescue and things like this. We've petitioned and fought for multiple years for the RSPCA to utilise the hundreds of rescue groups across New South Wales. Everyone just thought it was. They're not. They only utilise selective groups. It's not a matter of those other groups being bad. It's a matter of the RSPCA